welcome to the useless space shuttle. Please take a seat while I give your safety measures for our useless trip to the sun. We will be traveling 94 million miles in less than 2 minutes. The temperature will be a pleasant 5700 Kelvin, where upon arrival at the sun's surface, we will release our payload of trillions of useless tokens, proving that space travel is the most effective way to burn a shitload of money. The total duration of our flight today is around 30 minutes. On behalf of our useless flight crew, thank you for joining us. We know you have choices when it comes to useless billionaire space travel, and we thank you for choosing our useless wheelbarrow. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight to the sun.
Hi, this is David Wiley, also known as Kark and False Flag, here on vacation, actually, so that's why I have a little bit different of a background and I may not sound as clearly. I'm here at my mother-in-law's house as we're visiting family for a wedding. So first up on the agenda is, well, for one, we have with us today, we have Lance, we have Mark for the first time. This is DeFi Mark. Say hi, Mark, just so people know you're here.
What's up, guys?
And we have Jackie as well.
Hey, guys.
First things first is we're going to burn the 1 trillion. As promised is what we do at the very beginning. So we have these transactions already queued up and ready to go. So let's go in and burn the 1 trillion, and then we can verify on the blockchain that that's done. So here I'm doing the confirmation. This is here. It says it was successful. Refreshing, because that's what you got to do with this thing. Okay, so it has 4 signatures. Checking again on the blockchain. Okay, well, it looks like we actually confirmed 8 minutes ago. So when I reached out and asked for confirmations, we all did that 8 minutes ago. So the burn has actually happened. You see 920 billion tokens sent to the burn address. So right now, around current prices, it's around $13,000 USD that we sent to the burn address. When we send the 1 trillion, again, just a reminder, that is subject to the 8% reflections and auto liquidity. So that's why it's not a full 1 trillion. We sent 1 trillion, 920 showed up in the burn wallet, but there's also reflections that happen in this entire process. So hopefully you guys enjoy those reflections. All right, so first thing I want to talk about is I think this is something that happened last week that I just wanted to make a more clear announcement on. So we had someone go through, last count I checked, it was around 1,000 transactions to dust people with useless. Whoever you are, if you're listening to this, you may have had good intentions, and that's fine. It's just not something that we really need and want. It actually is very counterproductive. So if you dust other people with useless, that's bad. It's a bad look. It makes this look more like a scam coin. Just please do not do that. So if you have been doing it, just please stop. It's just counterproductive. When we're trying to list on Trust Wallet with our logo, it's 5,000 holders. I think that may be the reason why some people are trying to, push that number up artificially. What we want is natural, organic growth. So artificially pumping holders numbers, it doesn't help us. It could actually threaten us being listed. It can, and Trust Wallet, they raised it from 2,500 to 5,000 specifically because of these types of shenanigans. And so it's 5,000 non-dusted holders is the threshold. So we'll actually probably have to apply for Trust Wallet around 6,000 holders now, because around 1,000 of those are artificial. So again, just please don't do that. I'm going to turn the second over to Lance to talk about some of the DApp stuff he's been building.
Yeah, sure thing. So we're making some progress. So I released a simple DApp that just lets you purchase useless using the useless swapper that Mark actually created. Really cool. A lot of cool functionality there, because I don't know how many people have been frustrated with Pancake Swap, but I have in the past, and it can be, rather complex for someone that's not familiar with the space too. And so making a simple DApp was more of a proof of concept here. With this example, just to see that we could do it and see how it works, and get more knowledge and insight into the actual DApp infrastructure. It's gonna be really cool because we're gonna need some DApps. I know Mark and David are gonna go over a lot of what we're gonna be using DApps for. But this one that I released to buy useless was more for a proof of concept. And I hope you guys like it. Please report any issues to me. It's gonna be useful. I'll leave it at that. Oh, and I'll just say on the actual app, we're making progress. We're still working on it. Amir has done some amazing work. We're also waiting on Apple still. It's been kind of a pain point for me, to be honest. I think I might take another approach and have somebody else in the multi-sig actually try to apply for the Apple account. That may be easier because the problem seems to be tied to me and a previous employer using my ID, and it's causing some issues. So we may go down that route and hopefully we can get it done faster. But that's where the app's at. We're getting ready to release. And yes, it'll have the surge charts on it too. We're getting all the surge data and the useless data, and we're going to start there and start iterating on it.
And on that note too, so beta's incoming. Lance, when do you think that we'll be in a good position to open up that closed beta?
So I'm kind of torn right now. I think I want to open up the beta sooner than later. So depending on what Apple does, if Apple is pushing back and we still can't get our app into, test flight, things like that, we may just have to release the beta on Android only for now, and then just go from there. But I want to get it out as soon as possible. So I'm hoping within, I need to confirm with Amir, but I'm hoping with this month, we'll have the beta released for sure.
Okay. All right. So you heard that here. We're going to commit to have a beta out by the end of this month. And it may not be in Apple if Apple keeps giving us issues with test flight. We'll keep working on that front, but we'll definitely have it out on Android. All right. So next up, Jackie, why don't you take it away on what you got?
Sure. So first of all, we need to say thank you huge to everybody, because we raised over $3,000. We raised actually closer to $4,000, I think, in 15 minutes to help fund a speaking engagement for David to speak at for a Vietnam-based virtual crypto conference. So thank you guys so much. That was just, you guys just smashed that goal like crazy. And David's going to be speaking next to major cryptocurrency people like Ripple and Litecoin, I believe, as well. So it's going to be that meme where it's like all these soldiers and then the clown. It's going to feel a little bit like that, I think. But we can't thank you guys enough. You guys as a community are absolutely crazy and we love you. So this week, marketing wise, we saw a huge growth in our Twitter following just by using a lot of really targeted and trending hashtags. So if you see us hashtagging some things that don't totally make sense, it's working though, because the more people, the more you can get up in that list of like some of the first hashtag accounts to show up in that list of trending, the more exposure you get. So they may not be totally related, but it's definitely working to gain a lot more followers. I think we had close to 100 new followers this week alone. So super huge growth on Twitter, and Twitter accounts for quite a good percentage of the people who find us and the people who buy the token. So also this week, our merch store is now accepting Binance Smart Chain as a crypto, which is really cool. So you guys can send Binance Smart Chain, and then that will be, once the furnace is kicked on, sent directly to the furnace. So that's how we're going to get around this whole like issue until we deal with the lawyers finally and get a final answer on how our profits work as far as fiat is concerned. If you just buy it in crypto, then it forever stays crypto and it never becomes that kind of issue. So if you want to buy your merch with Binance Smart Chain, go for it. Just select coin payments and it will take you over to a site to finalize that payment. And then let's see. So this, I don't understand my own notes now. Hold on. Oh, so French Sapper is doing this Meet the Dev series on Medium. So the first one that he did was mine, and then you will get one for each of us. So we're all gonna answer these questions so you guys can get to know us a little bit. And then there will also be a separate video series for the YouTube. And you guys can, get to know us a little better of the doxed people or people who aren't willing to show their faces, but they are part of the corporate multi-sig. And then I think in French's case, we're also going to open it up to some of the community managers or project managers, so you can get to know some of them too. People you see a lot, but you don't really know, just so you guys know, you get a human feel, right? So we're all on the same page. And the last thing I want to talk about is obviously the marketing fundraiser. So currently we're trying to raise $30,000, and there is a broken down list in a PDF on how that money will exactly be spent. If you want to go through the channel, it should be right above the marketing fundraiser graphic, and it has the QR code for you to donate directly. Because of the previous fundraiser that was done this week, we've already raised over $2,500 of this 30 grand that we're looking for. So the marketing plan is broken down into a couple steps. One of them, hugely being token growth, obviously, and then the gearing up for and then eventual drop of the app. So we're kind of having to market two things in one. We're doing some careful negotiating to make sure that not only do we have the people talking about the token, but we also have people then willing to go back and be like, oh, and they released an app once it's released. So we also have Comet Scribbles in the community. He released his own fan-made video, and we love any and all fan content. So you guys want to do TikToks, you guys want to do Reels or YouTube videos of your own. I know Mark gained quite a following just, by being this very well-respected voice for another token. It's very possible for you guys to also do the same, so we encourage any and all fan-made content, any holder content. We love you guys so much. You guys are just the best. So that's really all I have to say.
Okay. So it's going to be me and Mark on this one. So just to kick us off, hi, Mark. Thanks for joining us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Karg.
All right. So this is DeFi Mark. And so he's been working on part of our ecosystem that we've built together. Part of what we've done here is try to come up with an intelligent way to manage our liquidity. And in a token like ours, where you have the beating heart of it is on a decentralized exchange like PancakeSwap, you have your liquidity pool, and the health of your liquidity pool is incredibly important for the health of your token in general. And so the first thing I want to say is, so regarding the furnace is a critical piece of this. It's where we send all of our BNB generated from our apps and dApps. Everything that we quote unquote earn in a decentralized manner automatically goes into the furnace, and then it makes a decision based off the health of our liquidity pool. If our liquidity pool is too low as a percent of tokens in market cap in circulation, then what we'll do is we'll inject liquidity. Or do liquidity neutral operations. If it's really high liquidity, then we can do buybacks and burns, which has really positive price action. So either way, we're taking all of this revenue and we're injecting it directly into the token, which is very innovative. Most buyback mechanisms are recycled BNB from the liquidity pool. they rob Peter to pay Paul, right? It's little incremental sells, and then they store up that BNB to do a buyback. And that's not what we're doing here. Is we're earning revenue, we're putting it into the furnace, and then the furnace chooses based off of what would be the best impact for the health of the token, where that BNB and how that BNB is going to inject it. It all ends up being injected. It's just how that gets injected really matters. So we've deployed several contract iterations, and the vast majority of functions are working. But in testing for the furnace, we got some random intermittent issues with injecting and extracting liquidity with pancake swap when BNB is being sent. So I don't feel comfortable releasing the furnace quite yet, fully in this state. So out of abundance of caution, what we're going to do is a beta of the furnace. We're going to do signups for that today, for the new furnace and the swapper. And we can put those two through the ringer. This is, again, a critical piece of infrastructure. We want to make sure we get this right instead of rushing out the door. So Mark, why don't you give kind of a spiel on your opinion working on these DApps, these smart contracts, kind of where we're at.
Yeah. So the pairing and removing liquidity from the furnace works. We fixed that up. The main problem right now is just the decision-making process. For some reason, it works sometimes and doesn't work the other times. And we're just trying to diagnose why. And a beta will really help with that process. We have a few other things we're going to be doing, but the furnace is in a good state. Right now, we can manually call all of the functions and have them work. But the goal is to not have any owner functions. The goal is to have this thing just run on its own, be fully autonomous. So getting that automation part working is, I thought was working better than it is, but we're going to be touching that up over the next few days. The swapper, I believe, is good to go, but testing never hurts. It's always good to make sure that we cover all edge cases in case something goes wrong or someone makes a mistake and we don't have any safeguards in place to protect them. Something like that, so yeah, I'm very positive about where the ecosystem's at, and I am one to rush things out normally, so I appreciate Park and the teams making sure it's perfect, and testing is a great idea, so the beta will be important. I'm looking forward to see what I should be adding and stuff like that.
Okay, thanks, Mark. So Neil, do you have the diagram up? Lovingly called. It's up right now. Okay. So there's been a little bit of confusion about this diagram and what it means and how it works. And so I just wanted to spend a little bit of time just walking you guys through what this diagram means and why it's actually pretty innovative in the DeFi space. So normally, here you'll see on the far left, the green box, pancake swap. Any interaction buying and selling between your Bet20 wallet, like Trust Wallet to Pancake Swap, incurs an 8% normal tokenomics tax, right? That's the 4% towards reflection to all holders, including the Burn wallet, and 4% towards auto liquidity, which we call Sally, right? Sending back and forth between a Bet20 wallet to wallet is also an 8% fee, a tax that incurs those tokenomics. So normally, when you think of all the red lines there with the 8%, those are normal, typical transactions you'd see in a tax token like Useless. So for SafeMoon, for example, right, they have a 10% tax. It would look very similar to go between Pancake Swap to your wallet, from wallet to exchanges, things like that. A couple of key differences that we're doing here at Useless is that we feel a very smart decision regarding centralized exchanges, that they do not have tokenomics in place on the exchanges for buys and sells. The reason that's important is because any taxation done on exchange is off-chain. Off-chain tokenomics, we believe, vastly damages this type of ecosystem because it creates higher pricing to move between exchanges. So if you had taxation, say, on Bitmart, inside Bitmart and buying and selling, and you had, say, like Hotbit, for example, had buys and sells taxed as well inside their exchange, moving from Bitmart to Hotbit, you have to buy on Bitmart and sell on Hotbit. That's more than a 27% tax. And what this does is it creates price islands. So by getting rid of all off-chain tokenomics, only on-chain, we actually allow the contract to do its work the way that we expect. And moving from exchange to exchange would be 8% with our 8% tax. That makes it far less volatile, where you have, like, say, one exchange being 30% higher than another exchange. And that's very confusing to people on what the actual price is. So by minimizing the amount of taxation between exchanges is really healthy for our ecosystem. So in order to help facilitate that, what we did is we created a couple of DApps, or we're building these DApps out. We have the smart contract already in place for the bypass DApp. And how that works is you go to this website, which is a DApp, and you connect your wallet, and you can send tokens to another wallet that you have, like an exchange deposit address, or to a friend, or to just another wallet to hold it, or to a ledger for a cold wallet. And what you do is you pay, it's whitelisted from taxation, and then we have a 2% tax surcharge on that. So you can effectively move your tokens from one wallet to another for only a 2% tax. We call this whole process side tokenomics. What that means is that 2% tax can be used to other cool things that actually work in the ecosystem. So for example, we can take that BNB earned from the bypass, and we can funnel into the furnace and do liquidity operations or buybacks. Same thing with the arbitrage DApp. How that works is you purchase off of the arbitrage DApp, and it yeets it over to your exchange deposit address. So that skips a taxation step. So that's the purpose of the arbitrage, is instead of, hey, I have to buy it in Trust Wallet and I pay 8%, then I have to transfer it to my deposit address for the exchange. That's another 8%. You just go to the DApp, you buy it, and it ends up in your exchange wallet, which skips that taxation step. In that case, what we'll do is we'll take an 8% cut of that, which is, again, the same that you would normally pay for any taxation. And all of that BNB it'll actually be 4% BNB and 4% of tokens will go directly into the furnace for liquidity building operations. So that's when you're picking apart this diagram, that's what you're seeing is how the taxation works and flows from a macro level between things like PancakeSwap, the decentralized exchange, centralized exchanges and bridges and things like that. And so there's more I can go into this. I could talk about this for days. We're kind of running short on time. But if you have any questions, feel free to hop in and we'll talk about it. We're always open and accessible, and I can literally talk about this all day. I love this type of thing. This is what makes us innovative. This is what makes us more interesting than just a regular token with taxation, right? We're doing things to hopefully, what we see, if this helps our liquidity like we expect it to, we could get rid of our liquidity tax and have most of that be towards reflection. Imagine getting rid of our 4% tax for liquidity because all this whole ecosystem is taking care of this. And instead we have 8% reflections, which would be huge. So anyway, just wanted to share a little bit of that because that is what makes Useless quite unique compared to a lot of the other tokens, is this whole mechanism that we have going on here. Next thing I want to talk about real quick is just the winners. So our meme king this week is ARGI98. Congratulations. Argy, I think, if you're pronouncing it. So that is 10 billion Useless. Thank you for your hilarious memes. And then next up we have Shilking is Comet Scribbles. I don't think anybody would be surprised by this. So thank you again, Comet Scribbles, for your amazing videos. You've produced some really great content for us, and we appreciate you and your hard work. Anything else that anyone wants to bring up before we draw this to a close? I think we're good.
Oh, if you guys have a favorite like smaller-ish YouTuber that you enjoy, obviously not Mark, someone else that we don't know. But if you have somebody that isn't like cryptos are us, but somebody kind of like the Tyler Hill size of following, we would love your suggestions. We're reaching out to different influencers that come at a reasonable price to spread our community message. So if you guys just want to like tag me in main or marketing ideas or whatever thread, just drop it and tag me at Tupac Secors and I will see it. And we really appreciate that.
All right. Thank you guys. I think that's everything.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
All right. Take care.
We've been given useful advice. Go to college, get a job, take out a student loan. You'll be able to pay it off. We've been told to work harder. Your major was useless. Buy a house, go to grad school, save your money. They've told us their way is the only way. Anyone can make money. Invest your money in the stock market. And they've told us our way is useless. Bitcoin's a joke. You'll never get rich that way. Nobody will ever take you seriously. Cryptocurrency will never last. Even though everyone can see their useful advice doesn't work anymore.
Spin. The economic crisis is set to become one of the world's worst financial crises since the 1850s.
But Inflation Nation is still a major concern for CFOs.
Americans owed over $1 trillion in student debt.
Showing record-breaking home prices.
A group of independent investors in a Reddit group called Wall Street Bets.
President Nayib Bukele announcing he will propose a bill to the country's Congress this week.
Projections about where Bitcoin goes, including $100,000.
Fame is that he went all in on a meme-based cryptocurrency called Dogecoin. And in 69 days, he went from a struggling music producer to a millionaire.
The answer is safe mode. Big congratulations to Useless. I'm very I'm very happy with it.
So I just have one question for you. Who's useless now?